Is this thing going? Okay, now it's going. So one thing I wanted to talk about that I forgot to mention was I'm slowly but surely getting sucked into the whole Q scene. I was resisting it for a long time because I just wasn't into it, you know. I mean, it's just too geeky for me, you know. I mean, the way these guys think, I just don't think like that, you know. But I'm sort of getting sucked into it now. It's a little bit. I mean, I'm not deep in the vortex yet, but I'm heading in that direction. Will I end up there? I don't know, but I'm giving it serious consideration, and we'll see what happens. But basically, what I wanted to say was what these people do is they analyze. It's like if you ever saw that movie with Russell Crowe called Beautiful Mind, where he's creating messages that are supposedly engineered messages from foreign governments to embedded agents that are in plain sight, but you have to know how to read them in order to understand them. So, like, you'll take the first letter of every paragraph of a certain article in a certain magazine and then make a word out of the first letter, even though after you take the first letter it's jumbled up, and then you'll take something from somewhere else, then the temperature of the temperature of that day or whatever. I mean, you know, it's a means of communication, basically, that is not clandestine. It's right out in front of everybody, but you have to know how to read it. So it's not at all unlike what they say about the secret handshakes of the secret societies and the secret code speak and all that kind of thing. I had kind of resigned myself to accept that with respect to the secret societies, but I was having a lot of difficulty with it from the Q perspective, that the people on the quote-unquote white hats, the good guys, use it as well. But I'm sort of on the edge of wrapping my head around it and sort of accepting it. I'm not quite there yet, but it is interesting because some of the things are pretty far-fetched as far as I'm concerned, but some of them are a little bit solid. Like, you can see that when the president makes a tweet and he intentionally misspells certain words, and you can take the words in the message that are capitalized and just only use the capital letters. And I mean, they get really crazy with the numerology, and there's another word for it, like gematria, I think it's called. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, like that. And then you add up all the numbers, and it just gets, wow. Like I said, it's super geeky. I'm still not convinced. It's still pretty far-fetched, but it is interesting to consider that if the secret societies do in fact communicate with each other that way, then here's the way I look at it. It's like any company you go to work for, they're going to have a certain language for the way they do business. You know, like in the police have the certain codes. They don't say I've arrived. They say, like, they have a code for that. I don't know what it is, but it's something like I'm 1020, you know, which means I'm arrived, and then I've arrived at the destination. Or when they're leaving, they have a different code. They say I'm 1042 or something like that, you know. And everything they do is basically a code, you know. So it's not secret, it's not conspiratorial, it's just a way of doing business, you know. It's, for whatever reason, when you do that 8 hours a day, it becomes more convenient and more, I guess, precise to develop a code system than to say the same words over and over and over again. Maybe words are harder to understand, or maybe they're harder to keep a log, or, you know, whatever. I don't know. But, and you know, so any job you get, they have a certain vernacular for every company, every job. You know, industries get standardized, but nevertheless, still, you know, every company has a certain way of talking, a certain way of doing things. You know, so it's the same way in governance, right? It's the same way in government. It's the same way in the field of power. And I have believed for a long time that power is itself a field of study, you know. And I don't think they teach anybody, you know, overtly or officially, because why would they want them to know? There's a great quote about that. It says something like, why would a government teach a population how they rule them, or something like that. That's a pretty poor paraphrase, but basically they want you to be in the dark. So that's what the secret is about, how they conduct their business, you know, because if you knew how they conducted their business, then you would be able to see more about what's going on, you know. So, and that's what the secret societies are all about, is they are about sort of unveiling those secrets, the secrets of power, the science of power. And so they expose people to this, but they expose them on the basis of earned status. Like, in other words, you don't join a secret society and then they give you a book on the techniques and the language and the vernacular of power and the secrets, or the methodologies of gaining and keeping power, right? I mean, you have to climb the ladder, so to speak. And I have heard that, like, if you want to be a 33rd degree Mason, you have to work at it for years, unless you have a lot of money, and then you can just pay them a ton of money and you can become a 33rd degree Mason basically over the weekend, you know. So the love of money is the root of all evil, right? So I think that there's a lot of meat behind that verse, that we say it and it sounds kind of trite and it sounds kind of cliche, and it's kind of boring. But if we knew the meat behind the words, then we would probably be pretty blown away. I mean, it's all about money, basically. I mean, that's so what I'm trying to say is that I'm becoming more open-minded to the fact that the people on the good side of things know how all of that works too, and they are using it to defeat the bad. So supposedly Trump is a master at this type of communication. Trump's a master at all kinds of communication. I think pretty much everybody knows that. He's got best-selling books. He's got top-rated reality shows, successful businessman. I mean, just an unbelievable litany of off-the-charts success that involve him being a communicator. You know, I read an article today that said that the top White House communication director position is going to be scrapped, because nothing means anything until it comes out of Trump's mouth. So he is the communicator for his administration, you know. And the same article said that he really likes it when his cabinet members are out in the media communicating, you know, basically getting in and scrapping, you know, getting in the marketplace of idea and scrapping with all the other communicators for dominance of the issues, you know. So he really is a master communicator. So basically, you got all these QAnon geeks sitting around analyzing timestamps on tweets, the pixel sizes of images, the time, minute, and second length of length durations of videos, and the colors of things in the backgrounds, and statements that are supposedly coded with numbers and brief pauses in speech. I mean, it just, like I said, and you know, and at what point in the speech, like if it's 33 seconds into the speech that Trump pauses, I mean, it means something. I mean, it's just, like I said, a lot of it just seems so incredibly far-fetched. But here's the thing, that, like I said, everywhere you go to work, they have a certain vernacular for communicating within the organization, right? And people that have been there a long time are really good at communicating using that vernacular. And if you don't know the vernacular, like you're new at the job, well, then you're pretty lost, you know, and nobody really counts on you for very much, because you're still learning the job, right? You're still learning how to do the job, right? So that at a company level, this occurs, I believe, at a very crude level, but it's the same principle, right? At the level of national government, I mean, and secret societies, I mean, this is stuff that has been developed over hundreds of years, And you've got, you know, I mean, you've got in a company, you've got people trying to do their jobs, but in government, you've got people, I mean, trying to gain power. So their level of motivation, I think, is in there are, not everybody, but because 95% of people in government, 99, 95, 98, 99% of people in government, you know, they're just like anybody. They're just doing a job, and they have a family and a house, and, you know, they're happy to pay their bills and get paid, and they're sincere about what they do, and they're trying to do good for the community. You know, it's the 2 or 3% of troublemakers that are really pernicious and spoil. You know, it's like they say, one bad apple. You know, it doesn't take a lot of bad apples, but to spoil the barrel. You know, but anyway, so they're motivated to develop a very sophisticated and intricate, basically, language. Right? It's a language, and it's a form of communication that occurs in silence. It's like winks and nods, and it's like, kind of like gang signs, but at a super ridiculously high, extrapolated, complex, intricate level. And look, these people in government, I mean, they went to the best universities, right? I mean, these are smart people, so you would expect them to develop complex, intricate things, and, you know, they're lawyers. I mean, think about how intricate a legal document is. I mean, just try reading a software agreement sometimes. I mean, this type of thing is what these people do for a living. They do it all day, every day. So I think when you sort of mull all of this around, that's why I'm saying I'm starting to come around on it. I'm not quite there yet, but I think that when you mull this around, you start to see that it's possible. I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% certain. I'm not 100% convinced that it's true, but I am starting to believe it's possible. So that's the other piece of this Kia McGyver update that I wanted to throw in, and thank you for listening. And I've been talking for like 15 minutes now, so thank you very much, and God bless you. And if you get a chance, say a prayer for me with this car, because these error codes are serious, man. They're very serious. They told me that one error code could kick off another error code, so one error code can cause a chain of error codes. So in other words, you fix one, it fixes everything. So I'm hoping that's going to be, I'm going to have some of that benefit is going to come to my way tonight. So God bless you again. Thank you. Bye.